Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Well, who wants to be smacked back? Nobody. We all like to smack, but not be smacked back. That's the one of the rules of engagement. If you can smack someone, make sure you don't get smacked, or don't get smacked at the same with the same intensity as you smacked, because it's an unpleasant feeling. All right, so in this case, we have Japan who smacks Russia. But guess what? Russia smacks back. And who's crying? Japan. So let's go. We have here an article from the republicworld.com, India's fastest digital news service. From an article that came out on April 7th, 2022. And this is the title. Japan says Russia's countermeasures against its penalties on Moscow will be unacceptable. So what are you going to do about it? Nothing. But nevertheless, we have here that, well, let's start with this disclaimer. I loved Japanese culture. I loved it. I I was involved in martial arts all my life. I was interested in Zen. I was interested in their Sumi air painting. I was interested in Shano Yu. I was interested in Bushido, the code of the samurai. I was interested in Yaido, the art of sword drawing, and Kendo. I was in Kabuki. I'm very familiar with their artistic ways, and I loved and I still love the Japanese culture. I think the Japanese people are special people, and nevertheless, I feel sorry that I have to read this kind of news provided by their politicians, by their leaders. What a coincidence, right? So we have here Hirokazu Matsuno said that any sort of Russian countermeasures against Japan in retaliation to Tokyo's penalties over Moscow would be unacceptable. Only we can punch you. You can't punch us back. If you punch us, we're going to start crying like he does. So we have here that the chief cabinet secretary of Japan, Hirokazu Matsuno, said that any sort of Russian countermeasures against Japan in retaliation to Tokyo's penalties over Moscow would be unacceptable, according to CNN, and must be true then if it's CNN. This whole situation stems from Russia's aggressions against Ukraine that you felt that you need to get involved in, correct? All right. If I have a problem with my neighbor and you intervene and you try to smack me and I smack you back, you say, oh, you had a problem with your neighbor. Was that your problem or it was my problem? Or it was the neighborhood? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, you can say that. The whole situation stemmed from Russia's aggressions against Ukraine. Well, okay, why didn't you try to prevent it? Any response that attempts to shift responsibility to Japan are extremely unjustified and unacceptable. What responsibility? You had no responsibility. You inserted yourself in the whole equation. Japan here, Russia here, Ukraine here. Yeah, it's a long thing, but it's half of the globe distance. Japan, Japan, okay, and we go to Ukraine. There somewhere, right? Where is it? Yeah, that right there. So see where it is? Japan, Ukraine. It's half of globe, and they inserted themselves in all this, and all of a sudden, it doesn't justify. When did you get in? Nobody invited you. Oh, you were pushed, or your moral standing, no moral indignation. Okay, then you got smacked back. You could have just talked, but you didn't just talk. You imposed sanctions. So what do you expect? Russia say, okay, I deserve it. My bad. Really? It says these comments of Matsuno came after Maria Zakharova, very intelligent, a Russian foreign ministry official, a spokeswoman, very intelligent, very smart, had claimed on Wednesday that Moscow has been preparing to retaliate. At the press conference, Zakharova said that the Japanese government is stalking anti-Russian hysteria in Japanese society. And that's common knowledge now, like the Americans do, like all these guys there. The Russians are going to kill everybody now. She also stated Tokyo had been damaging Russia-Japan relation by obediently obeying directions received from across the seas. I wonder who that'd be. Zimbabwe? No. The current Japanese authorities are consistently destroying the positive mutual beneficial cooperation that was carefully created over many years by their predecessors. Of course, but Zimbabwe intervened and pushed Japan to destroy all that, and now Zimbabwe will have new how do you call it, military personnel and equipment on the Japan territory. That's very nice, Zimbabwe. You know what I mean, right? Of course. Japan announces sanctions against Russia. In addition to this, earlier on March 28, senior Japanese authorities has announced that the government would reform its foreign exchange laws to prevent Russia from evading Western financial penalties by using digital assets. Okay, then you do that. That's great. And then the Russians do something in return. It says here that meanwhile, on March 29, the Japanese government had agreed to impose a ban. Agreed to whom? Imposed a ban on the shipment of luxury vehicles and other commodities to Russia, according to Kyodo News. Cabinet ministers had decided to alter the rule to restrict the shipment of luxury vehicles, jewelry, and other artworks to Russia beginning April 5th. The decision was made as part of the Japanese government's economic measures in response to Russia-Ukraine war. That was between those guys. You were not in it, but you felt like you have to insert yourself. The Japanese government has also enforced a freeze on the assets of Russian government officials, including Russian President Vladimir Putin, as well as business billionaires. The Japanese government has banned the primary and secondary markets from trading with new Russian sovereign debt. So you kind of got very involved in this, Japan, and for a country who's so dedicated to peace and all that, I didn't hear them being doing any embargo and sanctions on, for instance, Zimbabwe slash the neighbor over the Pacific Ocean when they invaded illegally a few countries in the past 20 years. So if you have, you know what I mean, then show that to everybody else so we can say, oh yeah, look at Japan. But no, they have dingalingi, and I have the big mouth because Zimbabwe is behind them and pressure them next to a cliff. And Japan is going to be like, ooh, free fall. That's what it's going to be. Good job, Japan. Good job, yeah. Now you can keep on crying because you got smacked back. Welcome to the jungle, right? Guns and Roses. What can I say? Well, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth. I got some more news for you.